righty, everyone. Welcome. It is Sunday, November 12th, here in the Trader's Crib on this Sunday school charting day. Welcome, everyone. I hope you all had a blessed weekend, a fulfilled weekend, a relaxed weekend, or whatever weekend you wanted it to be. I hope you had it. And we are here together to start our charting and look up for our setups so we can trade this week accordingly and with conviction. So I hope you all are ready for today's Sunday school charting session. So first and foremost, we will get into some mindset. We'll take a glance. I did take a peek at the news earlier, and it wasn't, good evening, Marsha. It wasn't nothing to me too crazy, unless y'all got any other headliners that came along that I missed. I didn't see too much to worry about as far as weekend news. So we will just do mindset and go straight into the charting if that works for you guys. And we'll kind of just look at Forex Factory to prepare for the week. But other than that, not much to go off of. All right.
Moody downgraded the U.S. on Friday after the market closed.
Thank you. When did that? I missed. When did that come in? That came up on Benzinga or CNBC?
Yeah, CNBC. Hi guys. How are you? I was just gonna say the same thing.
I'm glad you guys said it because I totally like.
Oh yeah.
Well, y'all know I canceled Friday,
yeah.
So my mind went left Friday.
Tandra's right though. It happened at like 5 o'clock. Happened like 5:15, and we got the alert. There was
like a quarter till. Yeah. It was like 4:45 is when they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They waited for everybody to get on the train, and get out of Dodge. Right.
Or maybe get into a trade.
I am going to throw another news alert. This afternoon dropped a note that Novo Nordisk, which produces a GLP-1 drug that is in competition with Eli Lilly, they just made an announcement at the American Heart Association Symposium yesterday, and at the same time published an article in the New England Journal of Medicine that their drug, Wegovy, reduces cardiovascular drama, something like 28%, even before people start to lose weight on the drug. So they ran a trial over a year based on its effect, the drug's effects on cardiovascular patients, not just on weight loss. So that's probably going to send Eli Lilly into the toilet tomorrow morning. So just saying.
Do you know how many people were in that study, Esther?
That is actually, I can tell you, it is on CNBC. It was a pretty, I thought it read like a really substantial study, but you know what? They could be making that up. So let's find out. Let me look that up for you guys.
I love how y'all just jumped in today. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go for it for a second. Just
sorry. I'm sorry. Very excited to be here.
Life is about going with the flow.
And Disney's probably going to tank tomorrow because Miss Marvel's did not have a really great opening weekend. So
I had a feeling it wasn't going to happen. We can talk about that in a second.
Well, there's 3 women, there's 2 women of color and 3 women as leading characters. So nobody's going to go see that movie.
Right.
It's just, don't even. Let's see. 17,500 people in the study. That's a pretty substantial study.
Yeah. That's a phenomenal study. Yeah. And as far as Marvel goes, I agree with you that the movie tanked because they did not do the type of advertising that they normally do. Mm-hmm. And then it's too close to around the holidays. Mm-hmm. What's going on with everything in overseas. Yeah. So that's not going to do well.
Also, remember that the actors strike just ended Friday, so they didn't have any opportunity for the actors to go out and be on the nighttime talk shows and doing the whole circuit, right? Like they were not promoting the movie because everybody was on strike. So,
no, that doesn't have to do anything with strike. Because that was
it did from a sentiment perspective. A lot of actors were not participating in because none of the other movies, nobody else was doing that. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that definitely contributed to it.
What's your perspective, Jasenia, on that?
About advertising the movie?
In the strike, yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that because I worked in the industry. You're allowed to do that. They did go on some talk shows. There's some other things that are going on with it also. It didn't have to really do with the strike in that aspect, and I can't talk about it, union rules and stuff like that, but it had other things to do with it. They never promoted that movie properly. The amount that Disney and Marvel have, because Marvel is on Disney Channel. They want that to go straight to Disney. You know why? For Thanksgiving. And that's what's going to happen. It's going to happen for Christmas. They're going to make their money off
Yeah.
of
But Pixar,
that.
but Disney
I
has a
agree.
new movie coming out on Thanksgiving called Wish.
Yes, and you notice they're promoting that.
They are. They've been
Yeah.
promoting that. They promoted that way more than they did the Marvel movie.
Yeah, because they want Marvel to go straight. There's a reason why they want Marvel to go straight. Trust me. There's a reason for that.
Oh, I love being a trader. It puts us all in the inside scoop of things and helps us further analyze what these old people in power are up to.
It helps us pay attention why this economic news mix is important, you know, because before we're like yada 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 whatever, but now we know that
Right.
we need to pay
I feel
attention.
like I'm definitely, if I was woke before, I'm more woke now being a trader.
Oh my goodness, be woke, stay woke.
Exactly. So with that, we'll go into mindset. We'll get right back into these charts and Forex Factory for the week. So let's get our mindsets right. So going into our daily laws book for today on November 12th, we're looking at breaking the codes of convention. And I actually really like this excerpt. It's short. Sometimes I read them, but this one's short, but not that short. So I'll just kind of summarize it. And basically, the daily law, let's start with the daily law. The daily law: show the shadow, release your demons, and enhance your presence as an authentic human. And the example that they gave on this was speaking to the gender roles and the power at play that we have in society, and not just in this country, but pretty much around the world, right? Where women are just taught to be nice and agreeable and yes, just all that stuff, y'all know. But we recognize in history, right, that we have women role models who have said, nah, the hell with being nice and agreeable. I'm going to do me and you can kiss my ass if you don't like it, right? And a few of the examples that were brought up were like Marlene Dietrich, Josephine Baker, Eleanor Roosevelt, which we all know. She had her own swagger, as well as Jacqueline Kennedy, who also had her own swagger. And so these are people that, you know, we can look back in history on and say, hey, these are people that stood out and said, I'm not going to just sit back and play nice and accept the status quo, right? I'm going to show who I am to the world and break that code of convention and be me and be my authentic human self, right? So that is what we want to focus on today. We want to confront our dark side, the side that we repress, and we want to stand out and be ourselves. And I think that will help you in your trading, because if you're suppressing anything, not standing out, not showing up for yourself outside of the market, then how are you going to show up for yourself inside the market? So just remember that. All right. For mindset. Cool. Take that with you guys for this week. Show up for ourselves this week, especially as women. All right, let's go over to Forex Factory and kind of get a view of what's to come this week. So we had Moody. Thank you guys this is why I love you guys, because my mind just went left and I didn't even see, like I have all my alerts and news alerts and all that stuff. And I didn't see that. I didn't get that headline. I must have scrolled past it with all alerts we get on our phones. I don't know what happened. But hey, thank you guys. So we are downgraded. So I expect a little bit of a tank, even though the market looks like it may want to go up, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the charts in a second. So as you all know, we're getting reacclimated to my new trading schedule at the Trader's Grid. We are here now following the red folders in Forex Factory. So that means we are not going to meet tomorrow, Monday morning, All right, we're going to meet Tuesday morning because that's the first red folder for the week. All right, just make sure I remind you all of that, that we're going to meet Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, and Monday and Friday we will have off. Okay. All right. So looking into Tuesday, we have at 8:30 a.m. we have core CPI, and then on Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. So this is again pre-market news. We have the core retail sales of the Empire State Manufacturing, and then on Thursday we have unemployment claims, which is like always on a Thursday, right? Nothing too, like super exciting to me happening this week. We'll see how these folders come in and see if the market wants to make an impulsive move based on the data or not. It's always up to chance. It does not have to do any of that. It does what it wants to do. But we are looking at more, to me, Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll see how Thursday does, but we can just see how this week goes overall. Now, with this news in relation to Moody and all the other in the chart and what we're looking at now, let's put it together and let's put our lines on the chart. So the first 4 sets of lines that you see on my chart are support and resistance from the weekly. So we just finished off a week. We're entering a new week. It's a Sunday school charting. So we're going to start with a weekly top-down analysis. It is not the end of the month or the beginning of the month. So we're not worrying about the monthly view right now. We're going to stick with the weekly, and we'll go weekly down to the 15-minute. So I did square off. I started with the weekly. Looking at the weekly, we have a weekly fair value gap that price went into on last week. Went deeper in there on Friday, which is the move that I was looking for, but it did a significant pullback, you son of a bitch. But anyway, I'm gonna digress my feelings out of that. I wasn't expecting to drop that much before coming back around, but I kind of was. It was in between. So it was just like, okay, you did it, and then you shot up through here. Great. So this is a weekly fair value gap. Not sure how we may want to close it completely. But this is what the chart looks like. Of course, we left a weekly fair value gap as we created last week's candle. On the prior week's candle, we have with the wick of the two wicks of the 2 weeks. You see that we have this fair value gap down here. So I just wanted to acknowledge them both. Like those are two, they should turn into strong support and resistance-ish. Now, the resistance, because we have broken into this fair value gap, will come down to the daily and we'll look at it some more. But as far as coming back down, like a pullback down, I'm not sure how the retracement is going to look. So we'll dig into it. We'll pull Fibonacci and we'll see what we could do. So now let's go down to the daily. That's all I want to chart from the weekly is the fair value gaps. That's more than enough. So for the daily perspective on the futures, again, sorry, forgot to announce them on the S&P 500 as we normally are. And we have 2 daily fair value gaps up towards the level of resistance or into the weekly fair value gap at the top, right? And the fact that they're back to back like this, meaning that there's very little room in between the 2 fair value gaps, lets me believe that we will probably scoop both of them at one time. What the intraday pullback is going to look, how many hours, all that, that's subjective. I can't predict that, but I do overall believe that is the move, right? If you can stick with the conviction and hold through it. I was right last week as the move. I told y'all I was coming up to 44.18. It definitely did a hell of a pullback on Thursday night to go to 44.18, but I was calling 44.18 all week last week, like all week last week. And I almost gave up on it too with this candle on Thursday. So we did the move. So we're in this fair value gap. I do think we'll close at least this first one as far as the daily one. I do think we'll wick it up there. So you can count on those 13 handles from where current price is. From there, we should push it through there. How is it going to look? The time frame, don't know, but that's the overall move that I'm thinking. From there, where will we go? Not really sure. If Moody came in the way y'all are saying it came in, we might not even do that move. We could just turn around and come down. Of course, we'll see what the futures is going to tell us in 45 minutes to what this market is going to do, and we'll trade from there. But this was the first move that I saw just looking at the chart, not looking at it, not taking any news or anything like that, just looking at the fact that there's two fair value gaps up here. One pretty much completely closed, look like it wants to maybe wick it close and potentially wick into it. Now, the reason why, again, I say take both of them, and I could show you an example of this on a 2-hour or 15-minute. And if y'all have been following fair value gaps with me, this time y'all should have seen the market do this very move quite a few times. All right. So if price wants to move up just a little bit before tumbling down because of Moody, right? What it may do is it wick through both of these fair value gaps, meaning like leaving a tail end wick somewhere around 44.65, right? Wick through both of them to say that, okay, I cleared it, and then be out. It's a probability. And I've seen it before on smaller time frames. I don't know what it wants to do in this situation with Moody. So, and we were waiting on Moody. We were waiting on Moody for months, right? To come out. Like that was the last one, right? We like, Fitch, now where the hell are you, Moody? So that the fact that how many months is that? Anybody got the data on the months between Fitch and Moody, or anybody that can pull that so we could put that in our back pocket of how long was the time that we had to wait between these ratings from these credit bureaus?
I thought it was the summer. Was it not the summer?
I'm pretty sure Fitch was over this. It's definitely been a couple months. I was just trying to figure out who may be able to come up with the exact time frame between the two. It was end of summer.
August.
End of summer, and now it's November. And then we had a government shutdown. We had a looming government shutdown that they decided to not actually rectify the problem, but give a damn extension, which is why Esther is like, we got 5 days from another government shutdown. Because if they would have solved the problem from the damn beginning, we wouldn't be in this situation. But I digress.
Yeah, so August 1st is what I show for Fitch.
You said August what?
August 1st.
Okay, cool.
And then what was the next one? S&P. What's the next one that came? Like
S&P. It was
a couple weeks
Fitch,
later or something like that.
Correct. Fitch, S&P, and Moody. So Fitch, you said August 1st, S&P, and then Moody was just now. Will be November 10th.
S&P was, it says September 27th.
Really?
So, yeah, it says September 27th for S&P.
Okay, so August, September, we skip October and go to November. I'm not even going to say that's a pattern, that's a trend.
Right.
I'm not even going to bet on that. I'm just going to note that that's what happened for 2023. That's what I'm going to do.
Wait, Randy, I see one that says August 22nd. Hang on. S&P downgrades 5 years.
Because I thought Fitch and S&P came up back to back.
I thought it was within the same month, but yeah, I see August 22nd as well.
Okay.
So August 22nd. And S&P says August 22nd, so that's probably right. August 22nd.
Okay, so August 1st, August 22nd, November 10th.
Yeah.
That's what we're thinking. Okay. All right. And then the government shutdown again. So, all right. So what are y'all thinking? So let's go back to the daily. Let's stay on the daily for a second. All right. We clearly cleared the order block. So let's use fair value gaps to order block. So the news that we have, so every time we do a setup, we want to kind of get in the habit of what is the setup. And when you want to write down, and this is what I've started doing in my trading journal, you want to write down like kind of understand, why are you taking this trade? Are you taking this trade because of the fair value gap setup? Are you taking a trade because of the order block setup? Are you taking a trade because of the news? Like, why are you taking a trade? Adding that little bit to your trading journal, I think, will be significant as far as why you're staying in, and remember yourself. So in this particular situation, we know that, we have Moody that just came in. So we got Moody. All right. And they downgraded us. So we are expecting a drop. That would be a signal for a drop, right? Then, hold on one second. Give me 1 second, you guys.
I said the story goes, and then as the market tries to recover, the next one happens.
Okay, sorry guys, because my mom is low-key paying babysitter, but Jay didn't answer the FaceTime. So now I'm trying to figure out why I'm being FaceTime in the middle of my call. Jay, where the phone? And here comes my daughter. Gigi tried to call you back. You gonna answer? Okay. Oh, you need a charger. Sorry, y'all. Here, go. Bye.
Jay, those curls look cute, girl.
Oh, yeah. She wanted straight. She came. She's like, can we do straight look? So we blew dry out, we straightened and flat ironed, and yeah, there you have it, y'all. Voila. Girl ball.
I know.
I didn't want to put the heat on her hair either, but as women, we know we got to see what our hair look like straight. You know, we all been there at least once, right?
Right.
All right. Cool. So, all right. So we got Moody downgrade. That will be a negative. That will be a signal for price to go down, right? And then we have what else? So Lilly is kind of on its own with the healthcare company, with Lilly doing its thing. What other news y'all dropped us at? Then we got the chart. So we got Moody. Then when it comes to the chart, we got the order block. So the order block has been cleared, right? So we got a cleared order block, which means we know that we're at resistance, right? And so we're at a very pivotal decision point of where we're either going to break through and continue up or turn around. And we know that turning around, or at least taking a pause, has a higher probability of just breaking through. Now, because of the way this candle looked, though, I was pretty convinced we would continue up. But we can also come straight down from here. I've seen that too. So let's see. Cleared order block. I'm making my notes too, y'all, in my journal. So we're at resistance. So that's another signal that we could go down. So we got two signals that can go down. So do we have anything in our favor that says price can go up from here?
Those 2 daily fair value that you just pointed out.
That's it. Just a fair value gap.
Or maybe this whole weekly fair. What's this?
But they're daily ones, so we got to be careful, right?
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Randy.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain your concept of the cleared order block? Can you just show me on the chart what you're talking about?
I can. So
thank you.
Here's our order block. Right.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And it closed above it. So okay. Yeah.
Boom. Done. Yeah. You already kind of know the gist, but yes, that's what I'm looking at. So we cleared it. And this was, we kind of did a few different things at once, which I was surprised too, because I didn't know we had these little gaps here. Remember, now this is tipping in the Tanza strategy. And I give credit where credit's due. So it's just like, it's a Tanza strategy, it's an IWT strategy, it's an ICT strategy, or it's a Randy strategy. I don't, whatever floats your boat. Okay. But, I knew we would come up and with this gap close that was between October 17th and October 18th, right? This little one. And we wicked that close on Tuesday candle last week. We stayed up above there. And then by Thursday, we created, sorry, let me back up. We stayed up above here, but we had this gap down here, right? And I don't know if you guys remember me mentioning price potentially coming down and clearing this gap down here. So sometimes it could take days, and sometimes it could take weeks. I was saying sometimes it could do it in a couple of days. So this took a couple of days. We filled this gap, but because we left this gap as well, then price came down. There was a 2-hour fair value gap down here. We tested the 2-hour fair value gap, and then we shot back up here, closed this gap at the same time, put a body through this gap at the same time, and cleared the order block. All that liquidity chomping, right?
Hey Randy, I wonder if we ran a Fibonacci on that big candle from Friday, if that would show us where we were going to come back down, what that would look like.
So I do think right here we can run a Fibonacci, because we don't have the turnaround like I would like, but this is a significant pause, right? Where it's like, because price did come down, we come to the 2-hour, price did like turn here, and then now it's breaking back up. So I can pull a fib, and we can. So we have right now we have 2 convictions to the downside and 1 to the upside, right? Moody downside, clear order block downside. But the fact that we have open fair value gaps and room left in the current fair value gap where we close, like we close in the fair value gap, right? on the daily, that's our only confluence to go up. Hold on. Okay. So now from Fibonacci, how many more confluences can we get? You want to go from Friday's candle, and I low-key kind of hate that. Because what I don't like putting my fib at the tip of where I know price is about to open. That doesn't make sense to me, because then you don't have a real level. Does that make sense? This is not a real level. It's like right price is about to just break back out. So let's go over a few different combinations here, starting from the 2 hour, on how we can draw it, because I feel like we're in a sticky spot to where we may have to rely on candlesticks more than Fibonacci. Okay, so if we draw it from the previous, let me take this rectangle off. Okay, if we draw it from the previous swing high here, all the way down to the low where it completely turned around and came back up. Whoops. Okay, then we see that Fibonacci, you know, price came down here, and you were even able to pull this line somewhat before it happened, because I saw it. But anyway, price was coming back up around, came straight up through, all the way back up to the top, right? And now we will have to break through the 100% line in order to keep going to the projected 138%. So that's one way to look at the fib, and you're kind of like, okay, well, I'm past this 1%, so like 100%, so like, where am I going? Next projection level would definitely take these out. And then you're in, because you're up here, that doesn't give you a good retracement down, except for the fact that you know that it could come back down to the 78%, which, you know, duh, because it's like it just did all this run up. So that's one way to draw it. So let's draw it another way, because you do need to do that. So another way we could draw it, if you want to draw it up. Now, if I drew it up, the breakaway is not what I would include. So basically, I would bring my swing low down here Friday. This is technically the wick at Friday, October 27th at 12 p.m. 12 a.m., 12 p.m., yeah. And then that will be my low. And then I'll go to my high, being this rounded area here that was created November 9th around 4 a.m. Right? That's how, like, you can draw it that way, but you still see that you're in the same position. So, like, that's the thing about it. You're in the same position where price is breaking up over now the 0 instead of the 1, because you drew it the other way. But we did such a big run up. So this is a problem with Fibonacci sometimes. And when we're in this situation, it doesn't really give you a good retracement. When you can draw Fibonacci and you could clearly see that Fibonacci is like coming towards a 50 or something like that, then that's a good trade. Then you know you can pretty much like take that trade to at least close to the 50. Sometimes it doesn't always hit, but if you have a fair value gap and an order block that is somewhere around the 50, then you can base it off of that. In this situation, we have so much run up. Okay. And essentially this cradle is support, right? We know that. So price, so the formation that we had, let me take this off. I don't want to do this now. Hold on 1 second. 45. This 2 hour daily. Okay, it was in this area I was playing with. So another third way to draw it, there's another way, is what I was playing with Friday. Between Thursday and Friday, I was playing between drawing it from the fair value gap to the top here, right? Which is why I was able to get the 50 to come down, have it play around here, and then come back up all the way through. Or you could extend this bottom to the lower area. It pushes it out that much further, which I think this drawing is the best, to be honest with you. To go from, because we had so much run up, and then we had a significant pause here. And so this significant pause to this run up where price kind of like tabled out again and then dipped down is where I was drawing it on between Thursday and Friday, right? And I had this. And so price came down, and this is where I was like, oh my God, are you going to break down past the 61 to the 78? It did not break into this fair value gap or break below the 61. So that would have been my signal to not continue down, right? And to write it back up. So that was the signal there. If you were trying to use Fibonacci to figure out Friday's trade, that's it. Like this drawing would have helped you more to catch Friday, because you would have saw it bouncing. You saw it bouncing. You would have been waiting for this Fibonacci break. And I got psyched out. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I got psyched out right here on this stupid ass wick. It psyched me out. And this is where, you know, I had to take a small L and then get back in. But the whole point is I was waiting for a break. I thought I had it here. I didn't. So wait for your break, and then you would have to trade. Have a good one, Esther. Yes, you will have the recording. I'll get up tonight. So price will turn around, come up here perfectly fine. Came back through all Fibonacci. You're good. So from here, now you see that you're coming up to like the negative 50. Which it could still come to, but we know that we're at this, like, you know, in this zone, and we know the news we just had. So what are we gonna do from here? So those are the three options on drawing the Fibonacci. Y'all guys can trader's choice on which you like best, but no matter what, we're broken above a level. So there's not much you can really do here at the current moment. You're gonna have to rely on something else. Like, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Fibonacci is I'll go when I see it again, it's like the best time to use Fibonacci. I'll say it like, this is the best time to use Fibonacci to take the trade. Right now, I would say no. We need to lean more off of fair value gaps and order blocks. So, because now I will want to redraw this as well, but I don't have another top. That's just my 2 cents. Y'all can do what y'all want. So after having this breakaway cradle pattern, you know, this is where you pause to see if price is going to either continue to break out to the upside or fail. Right? We're right at the neckline. So we need to know if we're continuing down or continuing up, or failing this pattern, right? Because we have the other patterns as our conviction too. So I think right now we should just wait a bit and see what happens. Because what y'all say, the downgrade of Moody went to where we at? Did we go below investable? Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to look it up. Let's see how, because I know the last reports have just dropped the market, and we could do that because what I can see is doing like, say, do like a tweezer top or something right here, and then we just get an equally as long candle as Friday somewhere. This, you know, either it could be tomorrow, could be Tuesday, could not be. I don't know what it wants to do, but I'm looking for a fail signal. If Moody is gonna drop price, that's all I'm saying. So I'm gonna wait and see what futures come on today and go from there. We know we have this larger, so now we'll go in the smaller time frame, and we know we have this larger candle, but we know that if price doesn't like wick in here, and even if it does wick in here, let's just be real, this is a 2-hour time frame, so price most likely is gonna wick into this fair value gap. It is gonna wick. We know that. So does that mean price is gonna 100% take this fair value gap out now? No. You got to leave a wick. You got to leave the kids in the fair value gap, right? You got to leave them. You got to miss them and then come back and get them, or you got to wear your time out and be like, okay, now I got to go back and get the kids, right? Like that has to happen now. You have to leave them. Okay. So be aware of that. Be aware of the potential of it doing, right, as soon as you see it leaving bodies in here, right? And if it's not making lower bodies, then it may not be one to take it out, right? So just note all those things, the wicks to bodies left in this 2-hour fair value gap, to help you know where price may want to go. I have a feeling price is just going to stall a little bit tomorrow. I don't know. I just have this gut feeling, because this is like, I mean, why would you break up Like you did all that. And I knew, Moody was coming to just fall. Like, I mean, I guess you can, because we've seen it before where we've seen like a long candle up and then just retrace a whole candle down. So we're at a neckline, we're at an order block. All that's highly probable, y'all. So please, please, please exercise some patience. Going forward into this week, please, please, please. So we don't have like momentum candles and we don't have the confirmation candle that this is continuing breaking yet. So just patience. Other than that, we can go into the other tickers and we can look and see how we would trade SPY, Apple. Apple was doing this thing, SPY, all of them did really, really well last week towards the end of the week. I got back in the ORCL bit, scalped that, a few different things. I will start with SPY, and as I go over SPY, I will have you guys drop whatever other tickers you would like to in the chat, and we can kind of go from there and see what else we want to look at. So SPY came up and filled this gap beautifully, as you guys see. We have new gaps to chart, so we can chart those together and get our chart set up for SPY. I'm leaving the weekly fair value gap there. I hope you guys are recognizing what I'm doing. And then I'm taking down everything else out. Where is this weekly line coming from? Okay, that's this lower weekly fair value gap. So from here, I'll probably take this larger solid line and move it here at the close of this weekly fair value gap. And of course, we want to try to get in the habit of labeling our lines. All right, and then we come down to the daily. And again, like I said, could run up and at least finish here. That would be closing off that fair value gap as well. Or we could just be like, nah, we're just going to turn around right where we're at. And the reason why I do feel like we could turn around right where we're at, of course, it could do a wick. Of course, it could do all of that. But my other thing that I'm looking at from the daily perspective, that these lows are still, in fact, getting lower. And until this like stays above, and like this looks great, it looks promising for staying above, but on the futures, it's like equal, like this candle body equal the close of the wick. So we have some good signs that it could go up, but I'm not super convinced. You see how I be doing these big candles and then the next day it don't even come up as high. So look, you ain't fooling me, Mr. Price Action, and I could totally see price coming back around. We have a gap now down here on SPY, okay? From last week, we have this gap. We have a daily gap. I can see us testing this gap. Change some colors and some patterns here. Right here. So we have a gap for 433 to 430. Okay. Will it fill it completely? I do not know, but I do know that we could come back and, test this gap again for sure and put a wick right on top of it, because none of these two do. Okay. If you guys notice that, it just kind of kept coming up. All right. And we'll see if it wants to come down and take out that gap. And then, of course, let me come back to the daily. There's two gaps. Before I go to the 2-hour time frame. So here's the second daily gap at 426. So we know that we will have to take out the first gap, test around, unless we have some additional violent news that will come bring us all the way back down here. All right. And the last time we seen something like this, it left it for a little bit and took a couple of days for the price to come back and fill these gaps. So price can come up, and then of course we do have a gap to the upside here, right? That price could come up to, price can be pulled toward this gap and test it, especially since we're just now leaving this bottom area. So we can come test this side. And of course, we want to mark, so that's the daily gap, but we also want to mark the open of a daily fair value gap, because an opening of a daily fair value gap that doesn't have any wicks or anything in it is definitely going to be used as a magnet for price to come at least close to it. So you can bet on that. Now, this is an order block. Where's my square? Right in here. This is one right in here. Okay. So recognize the close of the weekly fair value gap is the test of the order block, and then we'll have to go through the order block in order to test the opening of the daily fair value gap. All right. So okay. So that's SPY. All right. And then 2-hour perspective, again, we would, in order to play anything to the downside, we just need the candles to start moving and doing their thing and give us that confirmation before we were to take that trade. All right. Any questions with SPY? I know we got Tandra in here who's looking to spy it out. So I just want to make sure we're all seeing similar potential moves. And then on the 2-hour, we can come to the 2-hour. Hold on. Because here's a 2-hour fair value gap. So we haven't tested in it. We tested right on it. That like right, maybe zoom in close. A couple cents shy of it. Okay. So so it would need to, so I will put an alert here on the 2-hour futures, and I can find it on the we can go back to the futures. I'm sorry. We can go back to the futures and zoom in and see what we find, because I didn't do the 2-hour on the futures. I totally missed that. Kind of stayed on the daily because I'm in, but you know, my mind is also on this like news thing, and there's like a big thing that's going to, like, to me, it's like you're going to pull back a bit after that. Like we had like a $70, $80, $70 run up last Friday. So a pause potentially. So 2-hour, let's label this one as a 2-hour fair value gap open. Okay. And then this, of course, is the close. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So that's SPY. Let's see. Do I have anything on the bottom I can, besides this big gap, or are you gonna come fill this? Now this gap is only on the 2-hour. So if I were to mark this gap, which I don't even really believe it really wants to fill, I'm not really sure. Not convinced that it wants to come down. I'm really not. So, because it wicked it pretty much well. Well, eventually it will, of course, eventually. But 435 is where we can potentially test back down to. And that would be like towards this neckline, but we would have to, of course, fill this first fair value gap and then break down to the next one. All right. So what we're really looking for in this scenario with SPY is for price to come and wick down into 438 to let us know just how much you may want to come down. Okay. But until it, I mean, this is the fair value gap, of course. So if you want it there, but this is really where you need it to it's the opening of the second fair value gap in this case, because I'm pretty convinced that this fair value gap will be handled in some way since it's so close to current price. It's this lower one that we want to, below 438, that we want to ensure that price breaks down below, in order to confirm that we are now bearish, that we could take a bearish position. All right. So that's how I'm looking at that. Okay. And so we go back out to the 2-hour, I mean, the daily, excuse me, from the 2-hour, we can see how all of our lines are kind of lining up with that pattern. All right. And this to me is a breakaway signal, but again, it could fail. All right. Let's see. Let's come back over here and see if we have anything on the 2-hour. Back. No, we got to break above this. So that's what it is. So we will have to break above all of this and come up into this small order block here at, this is the tweezer top. Zoom in, you guys see it here. 44.36. All right. So then that's like just shy where it was, looking at the daily. And so we'll need to break above that if it's going to continue to go and close off the daily, which I can mark. I meant to mark this daily fair value gap close. All right. And then we can go on to others. All right. And this line, just so you guys can know when we come back tomorrow, this line is a 2-hour, what was it, a tweezer top? All right. Cool. All right. Apple. I don't see you guys put anything in there. So if you have any tickers, let me know. I'll clear this chart completely and we will go from there. Now Apple was doing a significant run up. I almost wanted to play it down. And then I turned around and was like, oh, I guess you were just faking out right here and you wanted to finish out this long candle up at the top, which is what I figured it may want to do. So 187, here we come for Apple. Are you holding Apple, Marsha? I hope so, because that was a great trade. You ran up. So 187, I do think it's going to clear that just fine. With no hesitation, to be honest with you. But we'll see if it, if it spazzes out with Moody. Moody's would be enough to do that. As far as Apple coming back down, of course, it just kind of made a breaker out type of pattern. So we would have to have it come back around 181 and come down here. And I'm going to leave the Apple chart like this. Because the weekly looks like this. And Apple so badly, I think, to me, from the weekly perspective, Apple's really not trying to come down. This I don't know how to call this. To me, it looks kind of flaggish. I ain't gonna lie. Like price came down to this pen here, and then it may really actually break back up. I believe that this order, larger weekly order block down here, 152, 155 area or something like that. I really don't believe Apple wants to go back that low. So it's going to surprise me if it gets back that low. I think Apple wants to overall just kind of trend, stay groovy above 160 and somehow start to make new highs again above 160. Maybe that's just the belief I want for Apple, could be that. But this is what it looks like on the weekly, and these bottoms, yes, they got lower, this breakout. So the test would be at 187. If it continues up above that, then we could be in the clear for it to continue up. But if it doesn't, this is exactly where it will turn back around and potentially make a new low if it wanted to slowly climb its way down. We can do Amazon. All right. I don't really know what else to say about Apple, to be honest. All right, Amazon. Oops, let's clear it. All right, Amazon. Amazon said I'm going to do an M and then a W and then I don't know what. All right, so with this weekly pattern, I would believe that Amazon actually does not want this bottom and should be coming up for these highs. 150 area, at least the close. Let's see, let's do weekly fair value gap closes. So we got weekly fair value gap at 149.50. Ooh. Okay, because I'm not counting this fair value gap because it's clearly pretty much done. I'm just talking about this one. And then the next one, it's up to you if you want to mark it, because it's not just marking the fair value gap. You have to acknowledge the physical little gap that's between this little band and baby candle right here. Okay. So just be aware that this is a gap in between before you reach the next weekly fair value gap. Okay. And then weekly gap. And let's see what it looks like. Yes, it'll be like open. Okay. And then weekly. I want to put the weekly fair value gap open down here at the bottom. And it's up to you if you want to mark the close, but you can. Okay. And then come down to the 2 hour. And then what are we looking at? So I mean the daily, sorry, that was weekly. Coming down to the daily, and then what we're looking at. Oh, so we have, and Marsha, you probably already saw it. So we have this daily gap. Purple. The daily gap between 142 and 144. Probably close that off because it closed above this wick as well. So we'll probably close that off. At least for the short term. And then this bottom right here, I ain't gonna lie, looks pretty strong to me that it may hold. But I don't know if it has enough strength to push through this pin that was created on September 14th. I'm not sure. So we will have to just see. So you can put an alert, see if it's going to break, fill the gap, and then break it. So that will be the gap fill. But of course, you would need to put like either another alert or a line or something. Whether it's at the body of the candle or the wick, I'm gonna let the trader choose on what's going to be your signal to say, okay, now we're finally broken through here and we're coming. I will go for the wick. Now we're going through and we're we're going into these momentum candles and we can close off the weekly fair value gap. That's going up to the top. Let's just leave in the bottom. So let's come down to the 2 hour and see if I got anything towards the bottom. I don't feel like I do, outside of it obviously feeling like short-term fair value gaps down here. So you can use these fair value gap closes as stop losses if you're betting on price going up, right? But I don't have a bearish move right now. I think it's going to finish out. The fact that this W on the 2 hour though, I don't know if you see a W, but I see it. Let me draw it for you. Shit. It's going like this. Oh, it's not cute at all. Just letting you know. But because it's not cute and it's doing that, I think that it can fail. I think that it can fail. I was just about to
ask you, isn't that the fail W that you talk about?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it'll come up and then it'll, it depends on how it could fail. It doesn't have to, but to me it looks like it may. But because this is lower, it looks like it may. But when I zoom out, I'm not naive to look at the whole pattern. Like it doesn't look like it may fail much. So it just may be like a short-term pullback and continue to go up. I don't know. The candles on Amazon just be looking hella small to me, Marsha, lately. I just cannot. But that's what I'm thinking. Maybe a shorter pullback, continue to go up. Definitely fill this gap. Not sure how it wants to turn around. 2 hour pattern does look potential failish, but it depending this bottom, the morning star and things like that is a good support. So don't ignore that. I would, where I put this green line is where I would be looking to see if it fails 142. If it's going to fail, it's going to fail around 142. So there you go. I needed to go up. I'm holding shares. Perfect. Okay. 144, and then I'm not sure where it's gonna want to go from there. But closing the weekly fair value, or at least coming up close, 145, testing to this new weekly fair value gap, because this line is the daily and the daily. I'm trying to say the daily wick up here and the weekly opening of the fair value gap are so close. That's what I'm trying to say. So figure out how you want to chart that small difference. But yes. All right. Sorry, y'all. Tongue tied today. All right. Amazon. We can hold, go up. Congrats, because if you've been holding shares, I would assume you're profitable. Marsha, you just trying to figure out how long you should hold it, how much extra profit, right? How much before you should get out of Dodge. I feel you. Okay, so Yesenia saying take it to 144.69 and get out to the gap close. And, you know, that's your 2 cents from the long-term shareholder. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right. So now, any other tickers? I'll let y'all marinate on it. I'm going to go to Adobe. All right. Adobe did a great move on Friday as well. All the charts look the same. All right. Now, I probably didn't. You know what? Let me undo that. Because there was that weekly fair value. I don't want to lose that line yet. Hold on. Let's see. 2 hour fair value gap close. Let's delete this line. Let's delete this line. Because we know Adobe has that big gap, right? So I kind of don't want to rechart that. All right, so let's come to the weekly. All right, so this is that gap that, you know, in there. The close of it is at 605. We're at 597. We had a feeling to go to 605. It was just a matter of holding through the pullback that I don't think me or Esther could muster. I know I got the hell out of Dodge when I saw this candle come down, and I did not get back into Adobe. I took my money and ran. But we called it right. It's working through those emotions sometimes. We're such day traders. But for those who are long-term swing traders, you should have been able to hold just fine to 605 because it's definitely where it's going. We have a nice flag pattern that happened and it dipped down and then it broke up and it's coming back up. I don't really see Adobe stopping until they get, and I believe Adobe is going to say, I don't give a damn about you, Moody. I don't give a damn about you. I'm Adobe. I do what I want to do. But we'll see. I digress. You know what I'm saying? The Adobe just has that vibe. I
need a bunch of stocks to tell Moody to step off. Like, step off, Moody. How are you all 3 months later?
Exactly.
It's almost like we know we suck. We know
exactly. That's the kind of feel that I'm expecting from it. Like, do we even want to absorb this? Because like you late, dude. Like you late.
We already know.
But we do have a government shutdown. So, but we know that they're not gonna shut it down either. I don't know. Whatever. I can't. All right. Either way. It's up to you guys. I have a top daily wick at 599. If you think it's going to stop there, if you want to wait for a pullback before getting back in to 605, it's a tough read back here. It's a tough read because it's just wicks and gap, wick and gap. You either gonna take this wick or you're gonna take this wick. It's wick and gap, and the full gap fill honestly is all the way 627 from the 2 hour perspective. So if you can hold the 627, by golly, I love you. With Adobe volatility, whew, it'd be like sweating bullets. But that's a true gap close. If you see it, like I studied it, let me zoom in real close for you guys so you can see it. So this candle, this little doji right here, and then as you can see, the next candle is this red one here. So this is the true gap. All right. So you can take it all the way up to like literally about 630, close to it. Y'all know Adobe, buy a little bit of time. So I would just suggest to sit through whatever little pullback it may do. All right. But I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sitting here tempted to buy like 3 weeks of time and it gets to 627 by Thanksgiving. What y'all think? You get 627 by Thanksgiving, Adobe. Can you do that for us? So we have a great Thanksgiving dinner. Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. 627. Oh.
That's the goal. Yeah. Cause I don't really see why. Even looking at a 2 hour, why would Adobe come back down? I can see it come back down into here, but
downgraded us.
Yeah, but even then, even with Moody, you know, sometimes it has to make sense, right? Like sometimes the market does like some crazy, like, okay, yes. Like, okay, this is what I'm kind of saying, Tandra. If Moody is that volatile from the chart, Moody should only drop Adobe through this block. You see what I'm saying? Like I can't see it falling all the way down through here. It just don't look, it just doesn't look prepped for it. I mean, if it wants to peak it and then it just spikes, it could totally do that. But I'm like, a lot of this time, especially with at least with the FOMC, I've noticed that the candlestick ride down is there, if that makes sense. Like there's something there to be like, yeah, it could definitely go. And then it's just a matter of it if it's gonna keep going. So right now, with the amount of spaces between these fair value gaps, like one of these spaces should catch it, and it will take, you know, some additional stuff for it to just like not follow the rules and do some abnormal stuff. That's how I see it. Because all this to me looks like pretty strong support. You just broke out the flag. Like you just broke out the flag, and you like, when did we, like, you just break out the flag and just completely turn around? Because Future didn't even do that last week. Like I was looking at these flags like, come on, like now you know you a flag, and you broke up, and you broke up a little bit, and then you came down, but then you still didn't come down further to the next block, right? You just retested the previous one and then broke back up. So I don't know, you know, take your time on that one. You know, we know the market do some volatile stuff.
Even Powell turned the market around, and then it just was that one day, and then the very next day it was like, we're going back.
Well, because that's what I'm saying. If there's not enough room,
yeah,
the room still got to be there on the chart.
I agree.
So, to some extent, you know, this is why we sit here and do this, because it ain't that unpredictable. Like there's definitely a level of predictability in this, or we wouldn't be as good as we are at it, or there wouldn't be the people out there as good as they are at it. So yeah. All right. What's next, y'all? Esther got off the call, but she mentioned Lily, and she mentioned it potentially tanking, right? Is that what she said? Tanking? I don't know. This chart look ugly too. So see what I'm saying? Like it aligns, like something on the chart like aligns. Like I could see this tanking. I could see the next candle being making this a straight tweezer top, right? And just being like down, head and shoulders straight up. You can see, you can like low key see the head and shoulder starting, right? Shoulder, head, neck, shoulder. Let's just come down, right? Like it's just something's there that be like, you're not gonna do it. And now you got these gaps. You done already made the little what is this pattern called? Is this no, this one's not the dark cloud cover. It's technically a piercing line, but the colors are off. So because the colors are off, it's more of a bearish position. So it's kind of like we could suspect at least this gap, and then now we're then waiting on, is it gonna come all the way through, you know? But we have the news, the room. This top doesn't look like it may want to pop up, because look, we have from the daily, we basically have a double top already. So what is the probability of it peaking up? It doesn't hold the same strength like Adobe does, to me. Am I the only one seeing that? Please, y'all wouldn't be with me every day if I was just seeing crazy stuff. Y'all would have left me a long time ago. So it's like, I see Lily more going down. I see Adobe popping up. It's just kind of how I'm getting at, right?
I can see that other shoulder, but I do see that second shoulder. I see the M there.
Yeah, the potential
the double
for
top.
it. Like but we don't see, like we see the potential for the M. It's almost like it's in the middle, right? Like it could go up, but it would need to like create the pattern to go up, or it's preparing to come down. It's but it's not in that like, yeah, I'm going up, like good to go, great formation. Like we don't have that here. I don't see it. And on the 2 hour is the only where I get a short term bullish, but as soon as we fill this gap, you can come back down. You have a gap in the fair value like that. To me, just you may not want to clear this high. So I do have a trade at least to the top of this candle, maybe, right? Because it's 2 out, maybe. It doesn't have to finish. Let's go to 15 minutes and look at it. Oh, look at that. Didn't I tell you it didn't have to finish? It little son of a bitch. Look at it. Look at it. It's not going to finish because look how far the fair value gaps are on a 15 minute. Look at it. I mean, it's like beautifully. I want this to be red. Let's see where that purple. So let's take the purple line out. Let's come back down here. Take this out. Okay, so we have a cradle. Y'all see the cradle. Y'all see this smaller fair value gap here, which basically closes at 599, which we didn't close just yet. Excuse me. And then the next order block is here. Okay, so the next order block being at 602 and the fair value gap close being in a couple cents, right? And we have this long wick here. So it could run up to here, finish out this candle, and then that'd be enough. So if we come to the 2 hour, look at that. Look at that. Not trying to make it. Okay. Look at as soon as we get the order block, we may not make it. It could blow through it and finish it. And then even then, from the 15 minute, we know that the next fair value gap doesn't open till 607. So we have to come halfway through and push through from 602 to 607. And then even then, that's not all of the 2 hour fair value gap. So then again, you're like, okay, now if you mark the gap where it opens, so let's make it purple. Now let's come back to our 15 minute. Okay, so that gap aligns with the, so that's great to know that the 15 minute and the 2 hour aligns. So it's really just testing to see if you can get through up to 606. And then if you can get through there, then you most likely do have it to 614. But if you can't break between 602 and 608, then you don't have it. And we'll go over that again, Tuesday. If depending on what tomorrow does, but yeah. All right, y'all can see how it may not make it. All right, I just want you guys to be aware of how it may not make it and why it may not make it. NVDA look like it's trying to make new highs now, so it could be. We'll see what happens when it gets back up to this top. All right, so we have this little fair value gap right here. It's probably going to go for that at 489. And then we have the very top, right? I'm so glad NVIDIA didn't come all the way down. So I can just kind of change these colors around. And then we can move, there's quite a few gaps in here. It's up to you if you want to acknowledge them all. I'm not, because these are small. I will acknowledge the big one down here. And then my green lines are going to be more like these fair value gaps. The close of these are back to back. So I'll see how it takes out the first one and then see if it wants to go back down, because this is the neckline of this huge W. Sorry, guys. This is the neckline of this huge W. So I would expect it to hopefully not want to come down and take out both. So we do have two fair value gaps close to each other. On the downside, they don't always wick out. They can do what I showed you earlier as far as just like wicking through and just like leaving a wick through both of them and being done with it that way. It could do that. Just not 100% how it wants to do it, but we'll see how NVIDIA overall wants to play out as far as continuing up with all this Moody news. I'm curious, so here we go. So since it is 6:10, we'll go back to the futures and we'll look to see if what telltale signs we have of Moody. So as we can see, the futures came on and we gapped down. So there should be a gap when I come to like the 2 hour. 15 minute, maybe not. Did it gap it? Hold on, see. Ish, I guess since we closed, because we closed here. Let me do my blue lines. So we closed here on Friday. And then we opened, that's at 44.30. And then we opened just right here where the wick already kind of went through it, just, in those 10 minutes. You have to be, maybe some of y'all were, maybe some of y'all, dang, forget the mic is here. Maybe some of y'all are like, were already on this chart as I was talking. And, you have to literally be sitting here at 6 o'clock and see where it opens and literally like press a button and trade if you're trying to get the fill, because it'll usually do it like immediately. Sometimes it doesn't, but it usually wicks it, does something like immediately, pretty damn close to right when it opens. So that was like the little gap. You saw it wicked in there. We come to the smaller time frame. We can see how it did that. And then now price is coming down. And we have a pretty strong conviction that price is coming down. We have Moody. We had 2. So out of all the little things I wrote down, we had a 2 out of 3, so we had a stronger conviction that price would come down before it was coming up. And looking at the 2 hour time frame, right? We have, like I already told you guys, this candle, actually this 2 hour candle should wick into this fair value gap where we know it's going to most likely do that. How far it wants to do that, that's up to you. If you want to trade the 15-minute like scalp to the fair value gap, which you totally can. And if you scalp to the next one and then to the next one, so this is the levels. Let me change these to green. Okay, so this was my blue. The blue is the open to close gap. The green is my support and resistance. So if I mark the openings of both fair value gaps on the 15-minute, and then here's your larger order block and your larger fair value gap open down here. All right. Come to the 2 hour, it looks like this. So we could potentially expect, we know this last line was our larger 15-minute fair value gap opening, right? So we can do, I don't know how you guys want to do it, but 15-minute fair value gap open, and it's up to you if you want to put like a larger one versus the smaller ones, because this is the one that matters more, the larger one, not these 2 smaller ones. So we could, essentially say, looking at even the 2 hour, right, that price will probably come down to the larger one, 44.07, and it's meeting at the neckline of where price was previously, right? It's in between the wick. So we have, remember I told you guys always be careful of these wicks that are protruding up alongside. So we have the wick that's stopping at like 44.13, while we have a 15-minute fair value gap open at 44.14, and then we have another 15-minute fair value gap open at 44.7. So like you're in between there, okay? Me personally, I would just wait for it to do this and then figure out how, like, look at the pattern and then get in on the next move. So if it's going to continue down here, then you can, write it down. Where's my ruler? You can write it down from here down. That's 23 handles just there. If you want to try to catch it on its way, it's about 16 handles on its way there. Then once it gets here, if it decides to come back up and test the top, then you have 20 something handles back up to the top side. Like, just know that. Okay, so it's up to you. You have a few options. Trade it down to the 44-ish 7 area. Now I'm on the 2 hour. This is where we come back and put on another Fibonacci. I'm just going through all types of options. The only thing that sucks is that this candle is forming. So just be very, very, very careful if you're going to do it from here to here. Okay, if you're going to do it from here to here and you're going to try to use Fibonacci to figure out how far into this 2 hour fair value gap price is going to run down, I would not hold my breath on this 50% line. I would take one Fibonacci at a time. Okay. You see the fair value gaps on the 15-minute time frame. So just keep that in mind if you choose to draw it this way. Now, once this candle forms and we have our complete like turnaround pattern here, then this Fibonacci is going to hold even more weight. Right now, you just got to be careful with it. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying be cautious, because if this candle closes more upward than downward, then you don't have that retracement move that you were looking for. So this is a 2-hour time frame. You have 2 hours left on this candle. So be patient with it and let it do its thing. Because you know this candle can have wick, this candle can do a bunch of different things. So I'm just showing you all potential options here. We see it, his gap down is giving a sign that it probably will come down a little bit. You have to figure out if you're going to, on the 15, between the 15-minute and the 3-minute, if you were going to play it down, where your take profit would be, right? I don't know if you guys realize, but I got rid of the 5-minute. The 5-minute was getting on my goddamn nerve last week. So I'm just like 3-minute, 15-minute, 2 hour. I'm starting to get rid of things. So if we come to the 3-minute, right? And if we see, you know, this wick is up here, so we'll probably retrace this wick up a little bit before potentially coming back down. You know, this is the distance between that gap that we just opened with. So it usually plays around in this area around this time between now and 9 o'clock. It'll play and it may pick a direction. And I want to say sometimes it's like I'm saying all this sometimes stuff, but you just have to, like, once you just get in the mode of it, you start to recognize, like, you can get in a 9 p.m. move, right? You can on futures tonight, right? If there's not a red folder in the morning or something like that, it's probably not going to move much. All right. And if there is there's a big fair value gap dip, you know, you may be able to play it. What I'm trying to get at is sometimes if you just wait till the morning, you can basically take the same move that you were going to take overnight in the morning, because price would have did, like, at 9 p.m. it would have been here. You would have had your little, say, 15-minute fair value gap. It would have did that little 15-minute fair value gap move. It would have been no more than about like 5 to 10 handles, right? A 5 to 10 handle move, then price would have came back and revisit the same area that you got into, and it would have did all that between like the 2 a.m., 4 a.m., you know, London market opening, all that. To then wake up at 4 a.m. to realize, damn, I probably could have just got in when I got up this morning instead of stressing about my beauty sleep and my dreams on what price was doing overnight. It's just because I've done it. I've done enough overnight trades to see that I don't necessarily have to take it. I could have took that same move in the morning. Just take my word for it. Go back to the chart if you haven't already noticed that truth, and just notice it, okay? And you figure out how you want to proceed knowing that truth, all right? So right now, looking at the 3-minute and 15-minute, you know, the 15-minute to me doesn't give me too much conviction that price will 100% turn around just yet to come back up here. Looks like it's trying. These two candles definitely are giving me, you know, we have the order block, we have a 2-candle turnaround. It needs to do maybe a little bit more pullback, come back down. The 3-minute shows a little bit more of a cradle here, but we know that if we don't come back and cross this line, the 44.25, which was my gap, actually, if we don't come back up and cross this, then I'm not coming back up to finish out this fair value gap. I'm going to come down and start pressing the block more. So me personally, you know, there is 5 handles within this gap for it to come back and finish it completely out, because you guys saw that the wick, it wicked it, but it didn't finish it. So because we didn't finish it, this to me, if you have full conviction based on the way it looks, that it's going to fill this gap, you can get in now, you can fill the gap, be done. Trader's choice. You got a wick left in there. It's 3-minute. The 3 minutes, you usually can come back pretty quickly. But again, you just got to give it it's only been 19 minutes. Patience. Make sure it's really want to turn back around. I would even put an alert right back up here. So when it like crosses here, I can get it. All right. And I can take the trade up and let it finish the whole fair value gap. To be honest with you, if it can do it, it could finish it all the way back up and you have a little bit more than, you know, $5 move. But that's futures move number 1. Oops, I had to make this red, of tonight. These five handles up through this gap. This side, scary because it's choppy. All right. Me personally, I want it to come through this order block, come back down to the 44.7. I want it to come down to 44.17 before I short. Again, you can take it down to 44.17 if you feel like it's doing it and it's going to actually give it to you. Right now, I'm not like 100% convinced. I know I don't have a red folder in the morning. So this is all going to be just straight candlesticks, no other news outside of us digesting Moody. So pretty much all I got. Like, I don't know what else to say about it without beating like the dead horse. Because the candlesticks aren't like, it's not the most beautiful setup, right? Tonight. It's just not. Sorry. I wish it was, but it's not. So it's not. It has to come down and test the top of this 2-hour fair value gap. And that's where I want, because then I will be able to either take it all the way down and pick up like 20 handles, or you're going to give me the turnaround pattern and I can take up about 20 handles to fill the daily fair value gap back up to the top side. That's my move. I'm waiting. Okay. I'm waiting. I don't care about the interim right now. Now, when I was practicing, I did. This is a good time to practice. Go on, scout, figure out, do I press it now to get to 44.17? Do I press it now to get to 44.30? Like, I'm going up, down. Like, this is a perfect time to practice. It's slow. It's Sunday. I'll be in the Telegram chat all night tonight. If you have any questions, I will. Because I will do for people who are creeping into the future's dark side, which is the dark lucrative side, right? You know, I want you guys to be able to slowly press this button, get in here, see the pattern and put it to work, and then prepare yourself for SPY in the morning if you're going to trade tomorrow morning, right? So yep. But I think that's it for tonight, guys. Y'all have any other questions, concerns? Almost 6:30. It's a beautiful call. 5 to 6:30 is perfect. I can always go over other tickers we want. You know, we have tomorrow that y'all gonna sit, do more homework, drop them in the Telegram chat. If you want me to chart anything, I can do a quick chart and I can send you back my chart, right? And I can like label all the lines and stuff where I would label them and then send you back my copy and see what you got. I have no problem taking those requests. I think Claudia's done that a few times. She's asked me, Randy, can you chart these other tickers that I don't trade at all, but you know, I have no problem. You know, sometimes having a second look, making sure you ain't going cross-eyed looking at your lines is helpful. So keep me posted on, you want Oracle? We can do Oracle. Let's go Oracle. I'm actually trading Oracle with options. You're sending the hell with shares. I'm gonna ride this sucker with options. Like, I was in and out of it. Last week I wrote it up a bit. I got out. I got back in trying to short it, but it didn't go down very much. So I cut that loss. So I was trying to see if I can get back up, going back up. And I think I do want to take it up. Oracle is relatively inexpensive to play with options. I ain't gonna lie. Just, you know, I don't know, just in the I know stocks is your thing, but it's affordable enough for you to tip your toe.
Yeah, the thing is I was already in the stocks.
Okay.
The trade. That's why I didn't want to get out and then go into I said, let me just finish this, and once I make the money, then I'll do it with the options.
Okay. You can't double down with an option? Just one option contract? And do the shares and the option? I don't follow my risky butt at all.
No. And the answer is no. Because that's not my tolerance.
I got it.
I
It's just
know
like, you know, you got the conviction. So it's like, well.
I'll be like, don't do it, Miss Sealand. No, Miss Sealand.
Yeah, don't follow my risky butt. Don't do it.
Don't do it, Miss Sealand.
You know, but it is really affordable. I ain't gonna lie. Like, one Oracle options contract is really affordable. Like less than $500, easy. So, just curious. You know, you can play with one of them out of the money tests ones. I don't know. Don't let me tempt you. I'm not gonna be the peer pressure today. Okay, but I want to look at this. So what I thought is I was gonna get back in once it cleared this order block on the 2-hour. So once it got back to 115, that's when I was going to enter an options contract to ride it. I thought to ride one in the interim, but I feel like it's going to do a bunch of back and forth, which may mess up with my trading psychology a little bit. So I'm going to play my good old faithful conservative strategy because we filled the gap, and I did take it to fill the gap. So that was great. So now to get through the gap, I want, I'll get back in up here. And that makes me feel great. And then I can ride like gap on gap and see if I want to take it, get out like the 120 level. I don't know how you look at it, Justinian.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking, 120. That's
okay.
where I have it.
Yeah.
I think that's I had a fib on there, and I have to redo my whole thing. On this call, I just made a mistake and deleted my whole watch list. So I have some work to do tonight.
Did you just deleted it in one button?
Yeah, I was messing around.
I don't even want to ask how you did that because I don't want to know how to do that. I don't want to know how to accidentally. I didn't even know you could accidentally do that.
Yeah, it's on your phone, and I hit it. I was trying to change because I have like the Trader's Crib watch list, and then I have another watch list, my own, and then I went to switch back and deleted the whole entire watch list by accident.
I'm sorry, just
And I'm not happy right now.
and there's no undo button for the watch list, is there? I don't think so.
No, I wish there was. But the 120, that's exactly where I'm looking at. I think that's a very sweet place to. What I'm going to do is once it hits up that way, I'm going to put on a trailing stop.
Okay, that makes sense too. I was going to ask you how you were going to do the last $4.
Oh, trailing stop, because I think there's a possibility of it going up there, but I think it's a weak possibility, not a strong possibility. So I would rather do the trailing stop with the weak possibility.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a good plan. Any other tickers that we want to assess for this evening?
I don't see any tickers, but I'm looking at the holiday. So it looks like market's only going to be closed on Thanksgiving Day, but it will be open the day after. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I see we have 2 trading days on there.
Yes. So because of the weirdness of the holiday, let me bring this. Can I pull it over? Yeah. Okay. So, because of the weirdness of the holiday, we're gonna do back-to-back Sunday school calls. Okay. So, we'll do this Sunday and then we'll do next Sunday, and then we won't do the Thanksgiving weekend, and then that was because when I was making it, I was like, oh, well, that falls on Thanksgiving weekend. And not saying that mostly y'all probably wouldn't mind a Sunday call, but, because y'all are so committed, but I figure we just hang out with our families and take the whole weekend. Last year I did trade Black Friday. This year I decided not to jump on live for Black Friday. We'll just pick it up in the Telegram chat for this particular Thanksgiving holiday, but we'll trade. There are 2 red folders 2 days before the Thanksgiving holiday. So, we'll be here to trade those. Were there any other concerns of the holiday?
No, I'll just be on the week of Thanksgiving. So with bells on, I'll be here.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Logistically, I think, that's it for you guys.
So I have a question. Have a question thinking about it. By the time I get off, sometimes I can get in the market or start looking at stuff. Is anything happening after 2:30? Usually there's a move after isn't there a bullet after 2:30? Yes.
So there is, okay, let's look at, because you want like a futures or a spot trade.
Yeah, I want the futures.
Okay, so let's look at the clock. Okay, yeah, so around 12 can be like a funny spot, right? Noon is like, sometimes it's an impulsive move, sometimes there's not. It just depends on the lunch hour. Then after that, to me, I feel like the move starts at 1:30. Tandra, the move that you want starts at 1:30.
Okay.
And goes to like the end of the day. Like if you want that, if you want the most of it, that's how you would have to think. And then you would have to either pick a fair value gap or like order block level or whatever to be like, okay, it's going to get out and I could just hold it and not babysit it for the end of the day. So like if I, like for instance, Friday for me was to get out, you know, I was like, I'm done at the wick, right? So the 44.22, 44.23 area. This whole 44.30, there ain't no way in hell I was going to be able to predict them last $8. You get what I'm saying? Because it did that.
Yeah.
It did that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's just so, I mean,
I see the run up because it did a run up. I see happen.
Yeah, it did like it's steady pushed, but it's all wicks up there, and so that's scary.
That is.
I would have took profit at 44.23 and I would have been done with it.
Right. Because I'm thinking like by the time I make it home and sit down and get my computer on, it's going to probably be what, about 2:30.
I actually think based on what I've been doing, I'm trying to see. Like Fridays, you would have had to have the conviction like a mug, Tandra, but I promise you, I saw all day Fridays move by like 8 a.m. It was there, okay. Like by 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., it was there. And it was just a matter of it just chopped around. It was like, because I was in the market, I was looking at this all day because it started right here. This was because it started actually Thursday night. It started Thursday night.
Yeah.
And you had the move, it was like price just stayed down here. It never broke. Right. So it was just like by when did the candle break? 6 a.m. 6 a.m. was the first breaker. So by the time you would have got to work by 8, you could have saw this would have, let me get my square up. By 8 o'clock, this would have been formed. And you could have been like, oh, I'm gonna trade up this way. You could have took that whole, you see what I'm saying? This whole move was there, like clear as day by 8.
I see. Yeah.
There was nothing stopping it.
Yeah,
because it was 8 a.m. and you had no reason to come back down unless you wanted to retest this, but it bounced. It was a wrap. And sent from 8 a.m. it just ran all the way up.
Okay. See, I wouldn't be able to see. School starts at 7:15.
Okay.
So yeah, and I don't get a break until 11:15.
So
yeah, so I missed most
so
of
this.
So I ain't so
by the time this was happening, I said, okay, I should probably go bullish. This is 7:15. It's right here.
Yeah, I see.
Those got higher. You saw the W, but you weren't. The only unfortunate thing with your timing is you weren't at the neckline. So there you would have preferred for you, so you wouldn't babysit it. Just from how I know you so far, you would have felt better entering here, which unfortunately is 7:45.
Right. Okay.
Right. So if you could babysit, you know, in those situations, I saw it potentially, but this is your confirmation here. And then it went up, and then once it bounced back, this was your confirmation by like 10 a.m. And that's what, and you say you don't get another break till when?
11:15.
Yeah, you're like in the wrong, all the right moves.
Yeah, the timing.
The timing is just off. Cause like you would just need to 11:15. I'm not saying you can't catch the move by then. You still could have got that move by 11, but you would have been looking at it from this candle to this candle, and you've been like, that's not enough candles. So it wouldn't have been, you wouldn't have took it. Nope. So, because that's how I was. I sat here and I was like, well, are you like, what are you doing for the rest of the day? And you just don't know that to the rest of the day. So it's down here though, when I saw it this morning, like down in this area, this bounce off the 78, I was pretty convinced we were going back up after that. But I just know some scenarios, but your breaks, Tandra, damn.
I know. Yep. Nope. It's because
Because even if I text you, you're not gonna see it.
No, I won't.
Until your break.
I may be able to see it, but I'll probably be in the middle of class though. Even if I see it, I will still be in the middle of class.
What I will say, speaking of a perspective, like seeing it to be able to execute it. So like, and if you can't execute to your break, I don't know.
Right. Right. So I guess what I'm saying is I probably won't be able to focus on it because again, when classes.
No, because 11:15 is like right when the 11:15 silver bullet happens. It happens like at 11:15.
Right. Okay.
Because there is like a 8, like you can pick up on the silver bullets,
right,
for like a 8 to 10 handle scalp and just be done, just be in and out, no more than like a couple minutes of your time, right? Or out, but it happens like right as you're taking your break.
Yep. Okay.
Unfortunately. And then the only other move you have, you said you get out at what time again?
At school, 2:00.
And you home by?
I get home by 2, but about 2:30.
Now you could set up for. Now, this is a thing. If you can get your, as you start to develop, like look at the market every day.
Yeah.
I don't know about the end of last week, but at least, okay, the week before when we had this like larger run up, my thing for you, if for instance, because I had thought about you in this move, we know that the order block was up here. We know that price was coming to the order block. By the time you get off, you can enter yourself into overnight SPY for situations of daily order blocks, and it's on its way to the daily order block.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Because then you have that conviction, like, well, I know what price is going to an order block. I know I can get in SPY and hold, you didn't held SPY enough to, what you can hold.
SPY, even MES. I can probably even do an MES one. And I don't know, maybe put a trailing stop on it or something. Maybe put a trailing stop on it.
I hate stops.
I know. I just, again, it's just, I just don't want it to turn on me.
I know. And so I'm thinking you get in, you get out, you come home from work, you look to see if you can do an overnight SPY move or overnight Adobe move, right?
Yes.
Based on the order blocks of fair value gap. That's easy.
Yes.
Right. And then for MES though, you got to remember, you don't always have to take MES at the end of the day. So you can always wait till 6 o'clock later to take the MES, and you don't have to, if you want to do a trailing stop with SPY, fine. But with MES, I don't know, Tandra, I would just get out and then just get back in later when you can, because it's the futures.
Right. Okay. All right. That I was just wondering if there was something that I was missing, because I've been gotten on every day. Depends on how I'm feeling when I get off from work. But I know last week I'm like, oh, let me get on and look at some stuff. Well, so anyway, I was like, but I haven't been able to spot anything, because like I said, it looks like everything had happened by the time I sat down.
It is. You're gonna be looking for, is the move still happening?
Will continue
tomorrow. Like, is it, do I have a continuation pattern to the next day? That's what you're gonna be looking at, either getting in at the reversal or in the continuation. Yes.
And that's what I've been looking for, continuation patterns. And then it's like, and again, it's hard to figure those things out. So I'm like, okay, never mind. But anyway, I'll be here with bells on for Thanksgiving week.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Sandra. Any other questions for the group that you guys have for tonight? I heard a couple of y'all jump off already. If there's nothing else for tonight, y'all trade the futures tonight safely and into tomorrow. And I will see you all on Tuesday. All righty. Y'all take care. Have a good night. See you guys later.